March is National Quilting Month, so we're doing the journey of a quilt. And I have my little ladies fabric, so guess what we're making our quilt out of? Or quilts, plural, a whole bunch of them. Because I want to see what every single fabric combination looks like together. And I know y'all do too. So the first thing I did was I cut 80 blocks, 5 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to sew them 8 across and 10 down. Now, I am not going to sew my rows one at a time. And y'all don't yell at me. If you want to sew yours one at a time, that's how I want you to do it. I want you to lay all 80 blocks out and look at it. I'm going to sew a whole bunch of twos together. So I kind of paired them up. Light and dark is really how I did it. In my own mind, it works. So I'm going to sew all of these together. These two. All of these two together. All of these two together. These two together. Dun, dun, dun. And these two together. And then I'm going to come back and sew my 2s into 4s and then my 4s into 8s. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to pick up the first 2 blocks. And I'm going to take one of each and put them pretty side to pretty side. Now the idea of this quilt is every other block will be white-ish. So my whites are, look how cute this is, the little black and white hearts. There are these florals. There's a white with a purple polka dot, but it's every other block is going to be white. I was going to put solid white in between it actually, and then I thought, no, let me use my fabrics and we'll spread them out throughout the quilt, but so that every other block is a really light color. So I put them pretty side to pretty side. Now I'm going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam and a straight stitch. I'm going to follow the edge of my pressure foot with the edge of my fabric. I'm going to back stitch when I start and when I stop. And why do we backstitch? Because my grandma terrified me. She told me if I didn't backstitch, all of my stuff would fall apart. And I backstitched for years. I didn't even know what it did. I just knew that I was doing it because she told me to. So make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end. I'm going to chain piece mine. I am going to backstitch at the beginning and the end of each set of blocks, even though I'm chain piecing. Lots of people don't, and it must work for them or they wouldn't do it. But my grandma scared me. So I'm backstitching on every single block. Now, I'm going to sew all these together, and we're going to have a whole bunch of 2s, and then we're going to sew those together to make 4s. All backstitching does is kind of like tie a knot. I have lots of my older students that tell me their job was to sit behind their grandmother's sewing machine and tie a knot when she started sewing. And when you backstitch, it just creates kind of like a Z so the thread doesn't pull out easily. Now, I'm using the Playroom Patchwork pattern that's available at hometownquiltcompany.com, and it's 80 squares, 8 across, 10 down, 5 by 5 inch, and then it has a 5 inch and a 6 inch border. Now you can use this pattern or a different one. You can get it from Hometown Quilt Company, or you can follow along with me where I give you all of the instructions right here. So now I have a whole bunch of 2s sewn together. I'm going to pick those up. Now, I'm not going to put that much effort into this quilt. I know y'all do. You lay out every single piece to see what you want it to look like, and I think that's perfect. But I love the kind of patchworky randomness of it. Even if a few pieces that are similar land together, is perfectly fine with me. The only thing I am going to do is try to make sure that the 2 pieces I pick up to sew don't match. Yellow, purple. And I'm going to sew the purple to the white. Just like this. I'm going to lay them on top of one another, and I'm going to sew right here. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop. I'm going to chain piece a whole bunch of 4s together, and I am going to back stitch because y'all know my grandma scared me. And then we're going to come back and make 8s, and then we'll have all of our rows, and then all we have to do is iron them and put them together. It's Dr. Seuss Read Across America week, and I forgot. So I've been working on little ladies' costumes, and really, this is what I wanted to be doing. I just wanted to touch my fabric and sew with my fabric and see it all together. And everything about this is my best life. Dressing the little ladies is my best life, but this moment right here, I will never get back. It is the first quilt that I'm making with my fabric, and y'all, I couldn't be any prouder. Okay, I've sewn a whole bunch of 4s together. I laid them out to make sure I liked the way that it looked, and I made rows of 8. Now remember, my quilt is 8 blocks wide and 10 rows down, so I have 8 in a row and I have 10 rows. Now I clipped the center so I will know what I'm sewing, but after I sew it, I'm not going to know what side goes to what side. So, and if I turn my block upside down, it doesn't look like I wanted it to look. So what I'm going to do is take a clip, and I'm going to use my clip trick. I'm going to put a clip on the top row all the way down, so then I'll know that all the clips go on the same side, and I'll have the same design whenever I finish sewing my rows together as when I start. Maybe. So I'm gonna pick up the first row that I have clipped in the center. I'm gonna line these pieces up, and I'm going to sew right here, just like we did the other ones. Straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam, back stitching when I start and when I stop. I'm gonna sew all of these. I am gonna chain piece them, and all chain piecing means is that you sew, you skip a little space, you sew the next one, skip a little space, sew the next one. It just keeps you from having to cut and cut and cut and cut, and then you cut them all apart when you're done. I'm gonna sew all these together, or my 4s and 4s together. I'm going to chain piece those, and then we're going to iron them. This is a great quilt to make as a beginner because it's all straight stitches, and it's a good skill builder because you're doing exactly the same thing over and over and over. And when you're finished, you have something that's wonderful. Or I love patchwork. I love everything about it. I love the random patchwork. I like the intentional patchwork. Patchwork looks so nostalgic to me. It reminds me of the quilts our grandmothers made. We've sewn all of our rows together in rows of 8. So now it's time to iron them. This is my ironing situation. Heat resistant pad, wool mat, Oliso iron, all available in my Walmart or Amazon storefronts if you're looking for them. Now I put a clip on one side, so I know after I iron it that all of the clips go to the same side. It's the big baby leaving. And I also kept them in order from top to bottom. So this is one row, and then the next one is the next row, and the next row, and the next row. You can pile them up like I did, or you can mark them with a piece of paper, post-it note, row 1, row 2, row 3, however it is that you keep yours organized. And I'm not super sensitive. If mine get disorganized, it's perfectly fine. But I think I have them pretty much in order. Now, I'm going to pick up the first row. I'm going to leave my clip on, and I'm going to iron it. Now, I'm not ironing my seams to one side or open. I just generally want my blocks to lay flat. So if you want to iron yours to one side or open, that's exactly how I want you to do it. And if you don't want to iron, I ain't judging you, but I am telling you that it will go together prettier if you iron. It just makes you look like you know what you're doing. And we could all use a little help with that, right? Or I definitely could. I'm gonna iron mine, you go iron yours, and I'll meet you right back here tomorrow to continue our journey of a quilt, and we'll put all of our rows together. My name is Tammy. I'm your favorite sewing teacher, and I would love for you to come sew with me.